Good morning. We're live.
How are you doing?
Well, I am feeling the Christmas lazies. It's wintry and I'm needing to do things. Don't get me wrong, but I am feeling the morning lazies where I just wanted to take my time this morning. How about you?
I am, I have been, I try to go with the flow, go with the flow, go with the flow, and I am just tired of going with the flow. I feel like everything just doesn't get, nothing I plan goes quite correct. We had a huge winter storm here in the Pacific Northwest. The East Coast is getting hit hard too. The airport is shut down. The roads are shut down. So I'm in my home office right now because my street is a sheet of ice. The neighbor was out there this morning. He got his car stuck. Then he was shoveling like gravel. Anyhow, I'm happy that I have power. I have like 8 things to get out, but yesterday my warehouse didn't get above 58 degrees in the main area. And so I'm just hoping that things aren't freezing. It's like, but what can you do? It's a winter storm. I'm glad it wasn't during the height of Q4. Because having 8 shipments to go out, it's like, okay, I was caught up yesterday. So if I get to them tomorrow, it's not the end of the world. But I don't know. So I'm going to try and drink my coffee and go with the flow and have it not bother me. And I hope my flight I'm flying out on Sunday night on Christmas Eve to come and see you and my mother. But mostly my mother. It's her birthday the day after Christmas. And so I'm hoping the airports are back to functioning by Sunday night and not too crappy.
Yeah, here we had lots of flights canceled for people who are here going back home to their snowy winter state. So, I was telling my husband that this is not the worst place to have to be stuck in, right? Because
Yeah.
we have snow here and it's sunny out and there's an abundance of hotel rooms that you can, book a room and be able to stay here if your flight's going to be canceled for more than a day. I have been stuck in the airport in the East Coast where we were snowed in and nobody could come and get us because of the storm there. And staying the night in an airport is no fun. I've stayed the night in Newark Airport twice in my life because of the snow and no one being able to come and get us. And that's the worst. So it depends where you're stuck at, whether it's pleasant or not.
Worst hotel that I've had to stay at, San Jose. There's like nothing there. There was no vendors. There was like a water bottle vending thing and some chips. And chips in a bottle of water was like $15 or something. And there was just nowhere to sleep. I didn't want to be on the floor, but the chairs were kind of nasty too. So
Yeah.
I found one of those massage chairs that you could pay for, but I wasn't going to pay for a massage. I just wanted to sleep. But I had the 2 little massagey thingies on. So I was like, I will go with so many kinks. Good morning, Nate. We made it 2 days before Christmas, and tomorrow is Elizabeth's birthday. Happy birthday, Elizabeth.
A lot of December birthdays. My neighbor's birthday is also the day after Christmas. My grandmother's birthday was a couple of days after Christmas.
Mm.
And for those that have that as a birthday, I've always understood through my grandmother and even my neighbor across the street how they hate being December Christmas babies, especially near Christmas. My husband's niece, her birthday is on Christmas Day because they always get birthday presents wrapped in Christmas paper and like Christmas themed cakes or pies or desserts, and when it's your birthday you want it to be separate from a holiday.
Yeah. Now my mom's always said she loved it, but I don't know if that's true or whatnot, but I guess she did get double gifts, which is appealing to kids. I'm fine with it, but like I told a few people that I was going into Vegas, but I'm flying in like Christmas night. I'm staying for my mom's birthday on the 26th. We're doing a big spaghetti dinner, and then I'm flying out the 27th. And as soon as I let that leak, like everybody there is like, oh, I'll just give you your gift while you're here.
And I was the one who said that too. Mine's small though, and we can share
Yes. And you are a friend, and I had to make it clear, like my in-laws are the worst because they whenever I'm doing that, they get big things. They'll get
Yeah, it's
like
like, "Oh, you can take
pillows
this back."
and
Yeah, you can take this comforter back with you
yeah,
on
yeah.
plane.
Oh, they've done that one to me. Comforter. And I'm like, you like traveling by plane, you know how it works. They've been on planes. It's not like I'm driving back. Yeah, my husband had a fit one year. We would go with the kids when the kids were little. We'd go every year. And one of the last years we went, Emmy was still in diapers and Derek was probably kindergarten, first grade, something like that. And you know how it is when you have kids, you've got the stroller and the car seat and all kids come with all sorts of junk. And everybody did. We spent over $250 shipping everything back. And it was large things like they get, tricycles and stuff. And I'm going, well, that's awesome. And I can't, you can't really take the kid's toy away from them. You've already given it to them. Now I've got to take it home. We spent $250 in shipping stuff.
Yeah, and it's like, especially if you order these things online, for Amazon shopping, we can order gifts on Amazon, just have it directly sent to our loved ones, just
Yeah. Oh no, my mother-in-law doesn't do that. She buys everything on Kohl's discount with Kohl's cash and everything. So it has no monetary value. And then she never gets the right size or the right item.
And for those of you logging in, we really are going to talk about stuff today. We're just idle chit-chatting right now.
We're venting because
we have topics. We've made slides.
Yes. Yeah, I was on I think about 4 people this week. Oh, you're coming in. Let me give you stuff to carry back.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy Hanukkah.
Yes, Hanukkah is in full swing.
I hope you're having a great time.
Yes, and we had the winter solstice this week, so it's like the week of celebrating for everybody. So that is quite nice. Good morning, Valerie. Do you need a UPC number to get a unique listing and where to get it? No, you don't. You can get one at GS1. I think it's gs1.org, but type in GS1 and that's where you buy your UPC codes if you need them. But do you need them? No. You do not. Which, speaking of which, you know what? We'll just hold on. I did not bring that up. I will bring it up though. But we have officially launched our BOLO groups for the New Year's and our bundle groups.
That reminds me, I think I have to add a few people to those groups. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, so let me share what that is.
Is there any spots left though?
Well, let's see here. For the VA, we have 1 spot left. So the link for that is down below in the description. You should see that. The membership-driven one, where you need to contribute three bolos a week, has 4 spots left. And the bundle group is just a one-time fee. And we will be starting that on right around January 2nd. We got to see what day. I think the 2nd is that Monday, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So we're kind of launching. We have announced it in our private groups and on the Online Selling with Tina Facebook group, but now now we can publicly say it to everybody. We've got the bundle group going. It is officially starting in the beginning of January. We are in the middle of populating it and all of that. Do we need to take permission to create bundles? Probably. I don't know what your question is asking necessarily. It depends on a lot of things. And that's why we have this bundle group, because talking about bundles, we could sit here and talk for hours and hours and hours and hours.
And then 1 hour and 25 minutes.
It's like asking me, can you build a car? Absolutely. You can build a car. Is that a 10-minute conversation? No, it's a very long conversation on what parts to use, how to do it. Do you want to do a brand? Do you want to do a non-brand? Do you want to do generic? Do you want to get G10 exemption for generic? Do you want to get G10 exemption for your brand? Do you want to try to list under other people's brands and get approval for others' brands? I have about 5 different brands that I can list under, and I got them G10 exempt so that I don't have to have a barcode. Bundles is a huge swamp full of gray area that you've got a lot of rules, a lot of permissions, and a lot going on. Hence this group. This is where we are diving into all the nitty gritty. I went through and did a video last night. We're getting all the videos kind of up and posted and the structure done. People that have joined already, they've already been invited, and we told them, we're getting the structure up and going. We will be doing walkthroughs, how-tos, weekly videos, things like that on different topics. And we were going to have a standard course, like this is it, we're done, tie it up with a bow. And we need to move to something more fluid because the amount of changes that have happened has been ridiculous. You take just generic listings, you cannot sell under other people's generic listings anymore. So what's the point of even doing a brand? Just put it under generic at this point. But that could change. That could change in 2 weeks. Amazon does not tell us when it's going to change. They don't tell us how it's going to change. It's absolutely ridiculous on the communication for that. Is your Facebook group still accepting new members? Yeah, the regular Facebook group is just like a Facebook group. You just apply, you ask for permission, and Tina does a couple times a week. She lets everybody in.
Yep.
And yeah, that's just a free Facebook group. You're welcome to come hang out with us. We try to post and be as active as any other groups. If you have questions, we've gotten a lot of questions on like shipping and what else. We were talking about Walmart the other day. Walmart stuff has Valentine's Day out. So good to be up to date with things, especially when like systems go down. That's where as soon as I see inventory lab down or something down, I'm like going on the Facebook group and seeing if anybody else is experiencing the same thing.
Yeah.
So asking something vague, like, do I need permission to create bundles? That's a can of worms. I don't know what kind of bundles you're creating. I don't know what brands you're including. And it could be a yes answer or a no answer. It's hard to give you a flat one on that. Hence our group. All right. So Tina has lined up a few things for us today. Let me hit the slideshow part.
Yeah. So I had somebody reach out to me this week on how do they find their shipping credits. We made a video early on in Q4 where we were discussing whether you should charge free shipping or actually charge the client for shipping and getting your shipping credits. So when you charge your customer shipping and Amazon gives you some shipping credits, some people now don't know where to find that, or did I actually really get them or not? So I have gone through and made a few slides here and instructions on how to go through this process of pulling your report, your payment report essentially, and finding those shipping credits in this payment report.
And this is going to show you all the things that you are
yes
wanting to know.
Yeah, we'll show you everything, but within this report, this is where you will find your shipping credits if you got them. So these are the instructions on how to download your Amazon fees report. And so in Seller Central, in the top left-hand corner, I call it the hamburger, but you have the 3 horizontal lines in the top left corner. You will hover over that and scroll down to the tab called Reports. And then once you hover over Reports, you get the drop downs then to the right side of it, and you are going to click and choose the Payments option. I have some visual tutorials after this detailed instruction list next. And you will click on Date Range Reports. And then from there, you will choose Generate Report. You're going to select, there's 2 bubbles. You're going to select Summary. You're going to select the time periods of the report you want to run. And then you click Generate. It's as simple as that. And then I put a note at the bottom is that once you pull your report, the 8th line item under income is where you will see your shipping credits. So I generally like step-by-step instructions like this that I can read and follow along, but I also made visuals, and that's going to be the next slide.
I do want to say something about this. One, if you're watching this, take a screenshot, Take a screenshot. We don't care. Put this in your notes somewhere so that you can follow along later. And second, it might be the eighth line item for Tina. It might not be the eighth line item for you. It just depends on all the things you have going on in your report. I don't think they are standard everything. Like if you don't have something in the report, it might not be the eighth line, but right abouts there is where it's going to be.
All right, and this is a step-by-step instruction. So when you hit what I call the hamburger in the top left corner, it's going to pull up this image that you see, the first image here on the far left, where you will hover over reports, and then there goes payments right there at the top. Once you click payments, it's going to pull up this next image that sits at the top where you see the finger and the number 2. So the circle with the number 1 in it is the tab that you want to click up top. This is where we are going to access the reports section. Then where I have the big finger and the number 2, this is where you're going to push the button generate report. Then what will pop up is this section of what you want to run. And so I made an arrow and circled where it says summary. It's very important for you to choose and click the bubble summary, because if you don't and you just leave it where it auto populates to the one next to it of transactions is going to give you more of a Google spreadsheet, line by line item of every single fee, profit, finance, which isn't a bad report, but the summary gives you like a nice, call it like a paycheck printout, so to speak. So you're going to want to choose summary. And then down below, you have your options where you can choose for the entire year. I populated underneath the entire year just to give you a visual where you can do a custom report. You can choose it by the month, whatever it is that you want to run. So this is great if you want to run a month by month report, if you want to run your yearly report, whatever date range you are wanting to look at. And so this here is the visual instruction for how to do these steps. And then the next slide. So this is a report that I pulled from a random month, and I wanted to show you that I only cut off and showing the portion that we're looking for. So once you get this report, this is a portion of what it will look like. And you see here under the income area, as you go down, you see where I've circled shipping credits. And then off to the side, I charge shipping. So Amazon gave me back shipping credits of a little over $800 for those merchant fulfilled orders. Now, I do merchant fulfill and FBA all year long. There are items that I merchant fulfill all year, although the majority of my business is FBA. And that is how you can pull your Amazon reports.
Yes, and this is a good report to have at the end of the year if you're doing your own taxes or you're just starting off and you don't have a CPA or other things going on. You're going to want to pull this report because it will show you your total income, your total sales. It's got, let's see here. I think, there we go. It's got all of these for income and all of these for expenses. And it's got a lot of information here. It's not going to track your cost of goods because Amazon doesn't have any cost of goods that they track. That's why a lot of us use Inventory Lab, because Inventory Lab will track all of this and your cost of goods and a lot of other things in Inventory Lab. It's got a lot of other features. But if you want to see how much your advertising was or your liquidation fees or any of these items, you're going to need to have this in that realm. Now, Tina runs, you run a different, my CPA runs QuickBooks and AdaX. You run AdaX and
Xero, it's called. It's
Xero.
Xero. I only got on Xero because the bookkeeper I was using before the one I have now was a huge fan of Xero. Prior to that, I had QuickBooks. They both do about the same thing. I mean, they are bookkeeping software. Xero is a little bit cheaper than QuickBooks. It's not by much. I can't recall the difference. But there certainly is not a lot of good video instructions out there for the general public for using Zero, where there is a lot more available for QuickBook users. And I only want to mention that because if some people are not interested in paying for a bookkeeper and want to do their own books, I would recommend QuickBooks over Zero. Although they say Zero is easier to use, how easy can it be if there's not a lot of video tutorials out there available? So I do want to bring that up.
So my take on it for people who are getting ready to do their taxes on the year end is, if you are just starting out on Amazon and you have a very simple business model, you're going to pull that report. The other stuff you're going to pull together, and you can totally manually do it. If you have a little bit more business, like maybe you're doing, I don't know, we'll say, I don't even want to say numbers, but you're doing something that's a little bit more complicated, Inventory Lab can work for you. It does pull a lot of things. It only does Amazon though. So if you do Amazon and eBay and Etsy, it's only going to do your Amazon stuff. You have to keep everything on track with the other items. And then if you are running multiple different streams of business, that's where QuickBooks comes in, and QuickBooks or Xero or whatever uses A to X and puts everything together. So I see a lot of people asking text questions and you'll get one answer and it's like, well, no, it could be multiple answers depending on the level of your business, what kind of things do you run, etc. One size does not fit all. And I'm going to address this question too, just because it's been a second, but I wanted to wait until we were done going through those slides. Can we bundle to different brands? Yes. Do you need permission? Maybe. That's another one of those gray areas. Do you need permission? Yeah, if it's going to be a brand that comes after for IP complaints, I would not bundle those items together. Don't be going and trying to do a Beachbody bundle of any sorts. They will probably sue you. So that's where it's like another, there's a lot of rules to that. If you're doing bundles, there's rules on what brands you can use, how to display them. I was helping somebody with an iPhone. I can't even remember if it was a case or something. It was like a sleeve, and they marketed it as an iPhone sleeve. And I said, well, that's illegal. You can't do that. And they're like, well, why? Well, because you have to say it's compatible with an iPhone. It's not by iPhone. You don't want the customer to think they're getting an iPhone, an Apple product. They're getting something that's compatible with Apple. So you have to go through. There is a few pages on Amazon that you will need to read on their policies to understand the ins and outs. And then when you're done reading, you may have more questions than answers, because their policies sometimes are not inclusive of everything that you're going to need to know. And then you're going to need to know, like, they're not going to talk about IP complaints when they're talking about their policy stuff. That comes from researching IP stuff. And anyhow, that's why we have a whole group now dedicated to it, and where we will dive into that type of stuff, because it's not an easy answer. It's a yes, no, maybe answer. All right, here's another one that if you are wanting to take a screenshot, end of the year inventory valuation. We're going to go over this really quick, just because this is something coming up and I know a lot of people are going to have questions about it. You're going to need to have a snapshot of the end of the year stuff. Now, it used to be that you kind of had to do it on the 31st. I don't think you need to for any reason these days. Both Inventory Lab and non-Inventory Lab, you can pull. I do try to pull quicker than, like, I'll pull this within the first week of January. I don't like to delay this task for any
So
reason.
you don't stay up until midnight on New Year's Eve and right at the stroke of 11:59 on New Year's Eve pull these reports?
I'll tell you right now, I'm going to be drunk that night. So no, I don't pull reports when I'm drinking, because it tends to go bad.
It
But
was
I've got a
always rumored, in years past, that you have to do it on the eve of New Year's Eve, and we are here to tell you you do not.
I can't think of any reason why you
As
would
in,
need to.
yes, as in running that report I showed you in the beginning slides, you can put in the date range. You can run your reports for whenever you want to of that time frame, as well as here in Inventory Lab.
I think you can even go in and set this to to run when it happens. I want to say you can pre-do this one, but it's morning and don't quote me. I'm still drinking my coffee here. But basically on the inventory lab, that's really easy. You go in to your inventory valuation, you enter in the date, and you hit view. Boom, done. Hit the export button, and you've got your report. For non-inventory lab users, it's a little bit harder. Another reason why I love inventory lab. But if you only have a few items, then really the non-inventory lab way is absolutely doable. You're going to go into your reports, your fulfillment, you're going to get your inventory history. This is where I've differed from some people. They say choose the event month, and I've done day too. I've pulled my inventory for the day of December 31st. This instruction had it for the whole month, which was kind of interesting. I don't think there's any pros or cons to either way. I believe it's going to give you the same answer. And then you're going to request your CSV download, and that's going to give you a quantity. So it's going to give you a spreadsheet line by line. You have this lotion and you've got 12 at the warehouse. Then you're going to have to put in your cost of goods. So I would go in, because I've done this report back in the day.
Oh, here comes the new lotion.
Yeah. Well, coming at the office, I've got lotions here.
I love it. It's become like the little mascot.
So you're going to put in it, you're going to make a new column, and you're going to put the cost of goods in there. So let's say I paid $5 for this lotion and I had 10 of them at Amazon. Then you're going to make a third column that's going to take cost of goods times quantity, total value. You do that for every single item. So like I said, if you have 12 items in your inventory, that's shouldn't take you very long. If you have 12,000 items in your inventory, yeah, good luck to you. Unless if you buy everything at the dollar store, it's going to be hard to go through and calculate. And then you'll have the value of your inventory. It's kind of how I do keep manually track of all my eBay stuff. So as I'm listing things on eBay, I put it into a spreadsheet that tells me the value, it has the price, how many, and then the quantity, the calculated value of that line item. We've got 2 questions here. Are you implementing any new business strategies or changes? Yeah, we're actually going to talk about this next.
Always.
Heather says, I got an IP for our Jen, the seller support brand health gave me a short explanation. An MBA holder would need to have to submit a successful submission regarding the 3-part dissertation.
So that's Our Generation Dolls is what she's referring to from Target, the Our Generation.
All right. Yeah, Heather, message me later, and if you need help, I can help you with that. But, wow, Our Generation, really? That sucks. Is there a way to enter, I should pop these up. Is there a way to enter cost of goods and inventory lab for FBA items in bulk rather than line by line?
Yes, but unfortunately, I know exactly what she's talking about. Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you want to answer? You want me to?
Go ahead.
Okay. So, Brandy, so if you did not make a fulfilled by merchant batch, then no, there's no way to do it by bulk. You have to do it one at a time, which can be a real pain in the butt. Unless there is a way to do it bulk, Lucy, that you know of, then I would love to know. However, when you are creating fulfilled by merchant items in Amazon, create them as a batch in inventory lab. We've done a video on this before. I think I even have a video on my channel. You can make fulfilled by merchant batches just as you do FBA. You just have to, from the drop down, choose that it's a fulfilled by merchant batch. And then that way, all of your cost of goods are already in there, just as they are for your Amazon FBA inventory. Otherwise, when things are zero, I go through them one by one and have to put in what I paid for the item. I have never figured out how to do a bulk ever.
My thoughts would be to go to one of your older buy sheets from Inventory Lab, from Scoutify, and take that file, because it's going to come in as I believe it's just an Excel file, and then you're going to take out the other information and populate in the new information, and then make a batch with the new information.
But if she does that and she's already sold these things, I'm assuming she's already sold them. This is after the fact, and now she needs to plug in what they paid. Are you certain that by doing that, it's going to associate those two together as the sale? You see what I mean?
Yeah, it should. I've never tried it that way, but yeah, it I would assume. The other thing you could do is go to your inventory, export, and then re-import. But Brandy, maybe we'll get back to you on that, because I'd like to dive in and see that, because I think you can export your inventory, make changes, and then re-import for the cost.
But moving forward, my friend Brandy, please just make merchant fulfilled batches.
Yeah, are we talking like 100, or are we talking like
a couple? If it's a couple, line by line, just knock it out.
Yeah, I'd have to go poke around with that, but it's an interesting. By the time you figure it, like if it's under 30 items, I would just go in there.
Oh no, she said 750. Oh, Brandy, my friend. So moving on to your next slide, Lucy.
Well, my question though is also like, how are you doing your books? Because if it's with your when I did that last time with my CPA, I submitted my receipts to her, and we didn't go through inventory lab for those items. 730 items. Okay. Killing me. Okay, so this next year coming up, it's time to reflect and look at this past year and think about next year. My goals are, I put a lot of thought into them, but I do give myself a cap on how long I will think about them. About right now, I start thinking what went well, what didn't go well, what made me the most money, what did not work out. And it's from everything to a specific replan to big overall thoughts. I'm going to be thinking about each and every vendor I work with, each and everything I spent my time on, spent my money on. Like I bought one of those air pillow machines this year. That was on my list of goals, to get an air pillow machine. Do I like it? Absolutely. It was 100% awesome freaking idea. But I have other things that were not as awesome. So going through and, kind of seeing what worked, what didn't work, and putting them together in, whatever you want to do, like write it down in a spreadsheet, write it down in a notebook, do a brainstorming. I'll probably put mine on a whiteboard. I like whiteboards. I always like writing on the whiteboard for some reason. But I do like to use kind of the SMART goal approach, which is specific, measurable, obtainable, realistic, and time bound. If you have never used SMART goals, go and watch. There's 1,000 videos on SMART goals out there. They almost all use weight loss as an example, which I find funny. I'm like, gosh, I just want one that does not use weight loss as an example. So for purposes of this video, we'll say I want to increase one of my goals is to increase my profit. My average profit per item has been between $3 and $4. I want it to be more towards $5. It's very specific. You can pull that average profit per item. And then how can I do that? Well, when I'm sourcing, I can source things that have a higher range. I can source and go after items that overall have a higher sell price. Instead of selling items that are in the $15 to $20 range, I'm going to be upping and doing more in the $20 to $30 range, because that will give me more profit per item. There's definitely different aspects of Amazon that are better. Let's say like shoes. If you just do tennis shoes, most tennis shoes have more than $5 profit per item, but there's a lot that goes into tennis shoes and prepping and problems with tennis shoes. If I source at higher end stores versus the Dollar Tree, that's going to also give me, go towards that goal. So you need to kind of list those out, see if it's realistic. If I said I wanted to go from making $3 an item to $15 an item, is that really realistic? Do I have the capital to do that? Do I have the skill set to do that? I'm thinking if I wanted to sell $100 items, what kind of items are on Amazon that are $100 items? You've got some electronics, you've got some kitchen stuff, etc. Do I know enough about those categories and those items to really dive into that this year? Probably not. Could I put it on a list of things to learn? Absolutely. If you want to get into a new category or realm of things, like if I wanted to go into high-end purses, okay, I need to really study and figure out, where do I find high-end purses? How do you market high-end purses? What's the return rate? All of that good stuff. But my point is that you want to set a realistic, measurable, obtainable, time-bound type of goal, and not just have it be vague, like, I want to make more money. That's great, but how are you going to do that? Exactly how are you going to do that? Let's see here. I wanted to answer this question though first before we move in here. Which way is to get your products to be available faster? We have like 3-week range from shipping to availability. Nothing. The warehouses are clogged up right now because of the time frame. They don't they prioritize to their own, whatever makes Amazon the most money, that's what's going to be their priority. So like recalls, if you've recalled units of stuff, not a priority for them because they don't make any money off of that compared to getting sales out to customers. So it should clear up. There's not really anything you can do about that. Just let it go. It's kind of like, will your shipments get to your customers on time? Just it's in the hands. I've got nothing but weather delays populating my feeds right now with all of the shipping services. So not much you can do. All right. So my goals to do for the next couple of weeks here is to draft up, and I have a big spreadsheet that I will go and I will pull all of my numbers and calculate it. Some of the calculations I do is I do my profit per item. I do my average selling price. I tally up my total sales so I can see my total sales year after year. I will see the increase that was from this year to prior year. What else do I calculate? I calculate my returns. So my average returns, I will go pull all the information to calculate my average returns. Let's see here. I've got sales and income, increased profit per item, volume increase, and weeding out the low hanging fruit. I want to be more specific on weeding out my low hanging fruit and be on that more
And if
because
I would like to interject on the
yeah,
more sales income is another thing that I know we both do that is not on this list is I then like to go through, and I usually use Inventory Lab, and I run the reports to see what was my top selling ASIN and also top profiting ASINs, because sometimes there's an ASIN I maybe only sold 5 of, but the ROI on it is just ridiculous. So going through Inventory Lab to make a list of the items that did well that you could still source, especially if you don't still have them in your inventory, and then checking them again on Keepa and making sure they are still good. Because as you know, some kind items come in and come out of being profitable. I've sold items that tanked because everybody is on it. And then I go check it again many months later and I realize it's either one out of stock or it is in stock but by a few sellers and the price has gone back up to a profitable price. So you want to also, when you're doing the steps Lucy is doing there, is look for those items as well to add.
absolutely. I'm going to be pulling ASIN profitability reports, supplier profitability reports, category reports, because if I see that I made a ton more in selling toys than clothes, I'm going to go more towards toys and less towards clothes. But you got to sit there and look at the numbers. I will
And
also
even
pull
stores. Yeah, even because I
stores.
pulled stores, and if I am spending, let's say, a lot of time at Walmart, but really I sold so much more from Ross, then I may think, well, maybe I need to make more efforts into hitting more Ross stores versus hitting Walmart stores. I mean, you just kind of really break down the analytics of your data that you have in Inventory Lab and use that to make smarter choices going in to your next calendar year.
I have found that my prices tank more from a Ross than a TJ Maxx. So guess what? When I'm going out looking at, I've got a choice. I've got to spend my time to go source, and I can either go to a Ross or TJ Maxx. If you know the numbers and you make more at TJ Maxx, go to TJ Maxx first. If
Yeah.
we are all limited on the amount of time. The
Yes.
other thing I will be pulling is looking at seasonal stuff too. How much chocolate did I sell for Easter last year? What was my best selling chocolate? What was my worst selling chocolate? Anything like that. Trying to see here. Yeah, I don't think I can't pull anything together right this second. I would have to. It's not in a good way to present. We've got non-money making KPIs, and these are ones that are kind of, I don't want to say back burner for me, but they are important to your business.
And what is a KPI, Lucy?
Key performance indicator.
A lot of people might not know what KPI meant. Sounds like
Yeah.
a radio station. KPI 107. Easy hits all day long.
Every business should have KPIs, and your KPIs, if you own your own business, can be whatever you want. But whenever I've worked in the corporate world, every department would have their KPIs. So if I was in the production department, our KPIs were, efficiency based and call out based and fulfillment orders of stuff based. When I was in the quality department, it was passing audits, not having incidents, recall, when we had a recall at the plant, like how fast was our recall time. Those were KPIs that we had in that. And then usually you get raises or performance reviews based off KPIs. I've gone through and told you guys what I do for my reviews for my people. They have a lot of like different KPIs that we look at. Are you on time to work? Do you do a good job? Do you catch quality issues? That type of stuff. For me personally, non-money making KPIs are like the feedback to my store, product reviews, efficiency and productivity in my warehouse. We are kind of thinking of rearranging along these lines. So we will be rearranging the office in the next couple of weeks. And I've told my gals, because they do most of the packing, I'm like, you guys are the ones putting stuff in the bag all day long. I could sit here and say, I think the tables should be arranged this way, but really, at the end of the day, you guys need to tell me how we should rearrange the tables for efficiency so that you're not sitting here. I just noticed they're walking back and forth a lot, and that you can cut down. We've even in production plants gone as far as putting like GPS things on people for a day and seeing how much do they walk. And if they walk back to get supplies 50 times a day, you've now paid for that person to walk back and forth 50 times a day. What if you just moved those supplies up where they needed it and redid how you had your supplies done? Well, now you've saved whatever, a half an hour on labor and the person's feet, and it's more efficient, etc. So starting to look at those types of things. We've got Loving It. Good morning, Loving It. I am planning to go wider, not so much deeper with products. Absolutely. The less risk we take, the less stress we have. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I had a couple of larger, not all, by any means, but I had a couple larger purchases that I got stuck with some product, and it wasn't hundreds or anything like that, but I was still going, wish I hadn't gone too deep on that one. But they'll sell. I mean, things will sell. I like things to sell faster. That could be one of the things too. Your velocity, your turnover, your IPI. Are you working on your IPI? Are you over under 400? I went up to 423. I was so excited. My IPI had been going down because of a couple of those products that were just petering out. Some lost the. I've complained about this 100 times. The nodes, they lost the nodes, and so sales were at like 50 a month, and then they dropped to like nothing, and it was because Amazon redid their catalog and the nodes went missing. So irritating.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, friggin', I know my nodes. So much cheese this morning. It's
I'm starting to wake up is why.
I am not. It's like one of them days you want to go snuggle back down in bed, but I can't. I got crap to do. Bundles. I have some specific goals I want to set out for seasonal bundles, evergreen bundles, and then defining the success of said bundles and my goals. I was talking to, it might have been Brandy. I don't remember. I'd have to go look at my chat, but we were talking about, what does a successful bundle mean to you? And I'm going to let you answer first, Tina. What does a successful bundle mean to you?
The one that sells and makes me money. That's the most successful bundle in my book.
MG. Okay, so what is making define making money? Like if you had a bundle and it made you $5 a month, would you keep it? What's your
No,
price
that's
point?
not enough money.
Well, okay, so what's your money price point?
So for me, success in defining bundles, there's so many different factors. And one for sure is it something that I can keep getting? You know, there are so many bundles that possibly it turned out well, and now the suppliers don't have the goods anymore. So was it successful? Well, yeah, it was successful until I ran out and couldn't get any more. Um,
That's true.
then there is the matter of successful annual bundles. So I have some bundles that are successful annually because they're seasonal. So there's Christmas item bundles that I sell year after year, and every year they make me money and a lot of money. And $7 an item, and I sell over 100 of them. I consider that a successful bundle. Creating a bundle that prevents others from easily jumping on my listing, I find that a very successful bundle because I own it, I control it, and I get all of the sales. I have the buy box 100% of the time. That is also a successful bundle, in my opinion. Um, and a bundle that's hard to copy. It's nice standing out there and not seeing a bunch of identical bundles to my bundle.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a path you were going down, or if you were going down the path of like, a successful bundle by way of title, images, bullets, in the technical side.
No, I think it's going to have many things to it. One is availability.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Two would be like my supplier. How difficult are they to work with? Are they
Mm-hmm.
easy peasy? Do I get my stuff on time? Um,
Yeah,
is
because
it?
this year a lot of our suppliers were running out of stuff. I mean,
Oh yeah,
supply chain was a big issue this year, and that's why I made that big post in our group how I wanted to tell those of you that are still here doing this thing that I'm proud of you. A lot of times our significant others don't do this business and they don't want to hear us talking about it or our struggles with it because they don't relate or understand. I understand. And this year has been a tough year with inflation, with, our vendors running out of stuff because they also weren't getting it, just all the effects of the things being shut down and then things costing more. And there's been so many odds against us, yet we're still here and we're still doing the damn thing.
Karen says, "Are you making most of the bundles from wholesale buys?" Um, yeah, I would say a
Probably
good chunk of
more.
them.
Mm-hmm.
Good chunk of them. The problem is that I will do them from several different wholesalers,
Mm-hmm.
and I have different problems with different ones. I had one that I got the items right away at the end of August. I had one bundle that I was in the works, and you got to understand bundles take a while because you've got to come up with the idea, you got to research, blah blah blah, and then you got to get the items, build the listing, etc. And my other vendor said, "Oh yeah, we'll have that to you by the beginning of October," and it was mid-November. First they said the beginning of September, then it was the beginning of October, then it was
There's always
mid-November.
pushbacks, yes. And it's like, well, I
Yeah,
don't need it now because it was an Easter item.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't need it in November. Yeah.
exactly. The other thing that I love about bundles that I want to kind of capsulate on is, let's say you're selling coffee mugs and you're selling coffee with a coffee mug and you're gearing towards Valentine's Day. I like those because if it works for Valentine's Day, I'm going to do the same thing for Easter, 4th of July, and you get that, you hit all of the seasons. So even though it's a seasonal item, your formula is going to be the same for each of them. Do you brand your bundles? Some of them, sure. We were having a discussion in the group about the new generic thing and whether it's worth branding them or not, or just using generic because now people can't jump on your generic. I don't, honestly, the whole debate on whether you should put it under a brand or not a brand is another one of those long gray area questions. Are you trying to build a brand of things like, do I want to go into coffee cups and have a brand of Lucy's coffee cups and eventually branch out to Hallmark stores and Targets and build that way? Or am I just coming up with something to sell for the season and I don't really care if it says Lucy's coffee mug or not? It's going to depend on how you want your business to go. Heather, which I messaged you, check your Facebook messages, Miss Heather. If you have brand registry, is it a good or bad to have others list in it? Would it be hard to get velocity without other people listing on it?
I list your listing, so I'm going to list on it because I list it.
I'm not sure what you're talking about. If you have brand registry, is it good or bad to have others list on it? It doesn't hurt or help your brand necessarily. Like, your brand is more of what people equate to you. Like, if I think of Coach, I think of a nice high-end purse. If I think of the Dollar Tree, I'm thinking more of like junk from China. So that's the brand part of it. If you think people are going to be nasty with your brand and sell junk or send damaged products, then you wouldn't want them on there. But as far as like velocity and, Tina and I, we have shared listings. I have shared listings with other people. And it's kind of like we share the buy box. And so we want to have enough velocity to make it worth both of our wilds. And for me, I need to sell at least 20 of an item per month for it to be worth me restocking. Just like a base bottom line, I need to have at least 20. So that means that I would have to have 20. You would have to have 20. Whoever else is on there would have to have 20. If we're all fighting over 5 sales a month, it's not really worth it. But I hope that answers your question. I'm not sure. Oh, increased sales. I do have to say that the good thing about sharing a listing is if we have problems and like I go out of stock and Tina's still selling on it, we don't lose the rank and the velocity of that listing. So that is a good point right there. If you are really good about keeping on your restock and your vendors don't go out of stock, then there's no point to it. But we've had such vendor problems that it's made a huge difference when one of us goes out of stock, the other one's keeping the listing going. I don't know. Hope that helps you. Hola. Buenos dias. ¿Cómo estás? Can you sell dead things on Amazon, like dead lizards or dead bugs? I have no idea. Do you know?
Well, I know that there are some chocolate-covered crickets, I think, on sale on Amazon. There are crickets. I don't know why people want to eat them.
I don't know. Well, I heard crickets are good for you. I'm not going to eat them, though. I know you can sell like dried mealworms for your lizards. So bones, artifacts, gems, fossils, like deer antlers, dead things, anything that is along that lines, go read the policy. Just go read it, because I'm sure they say something about it. What was it? There's something that you can't sell, and I can't remember what it is. Ivory. Elephant ivory. Is that true?
I cannot sell. It's illegal to sell.
Yeah, I want to say that's illegal. Even if you had vintage ivory, it's not allowed over on Amazon, Mercari, eBay, right?
I would assume so. Yeah. I'm not in the market for selling that kind of stuff, so I'm not up on the policies.
Yeah, exactly. I would never sell elephant tusks. I wouldn't even buy elephant tusks. I don't care if it was free at a garage sale. That's just against my beliefs. But if you wanted to get into any of that stuff, just go read the policy up, because that's you want to make sure. Okay, like I had to research CBD for somebody, and so that one I dove into. They wanted to do CBD products. CBD products are not allowed on Amazon, period. However, there is, again, the gray area. You can sell hemp items. And they recently did an article on items. They purchased a bunch from Amazon that were all hemp items and found that a lot of them had CBD in them. And the CBD sellers were just taking the CBD off and redoing the packaging so they could sell their product on Amazon. Is this legal or correct for Amazon? Probably not, but that's what's happening. I'm not here to tell you whether it's right or wrong. It is what it is. If you buy hemp lotion, it was like hemp whatever cream lotion on Amazon, it could have CBD, and that whole industry is not fully regulated yet. I was talking to my pet store owner because we get the dog CBD treats for thunderstorms and New Year's and 4th of July, etc. And she said that the dog treats is just really unregulated, and you could get something that has no THC or double, or, it's just like nobody cares about the THC levels for dogs. I don't think my dogs care either, but
The dogs are relaxed.
the dogs are like, woo, on that. So anyhow, you've got to go research each industry and find out what is allowed, what is not allowed, what will they do with the packaging. They will ban you or at least deactivate you if you put CBD or THC on any of the packaging. So I would stay away from those words. Same with COVID. I've had to dive into the word COVID. If you put anything that it helps you recover from COVID or less, help you in any sort of recovery with COVID or cancer, cancer is another one of those flaggy words, then you will get your listing taken down. So, it dead bugs or dead lizards. I don't know what you would want to do with the dead lizards. I didn't know if there was a market for that. Dead bugs. I know that lizards eat dead bugs, so I could see like that market. You buy the dried mealworms for your fish and your lizards, but what are you buying dead lizards for? I'm really curious. All right, some of the other things that I just popped on here that I need to make sure that get addressed are new vendor connections. I always want to make new vendor connections. My goals for ASD, I'll sit down with Tina and we'll say, okay, what are we going to hit? What are we going to do? What are our goals for ASD? We like to have some sort of roadmap, the people we want to talk to, relationships we want to cultivate, people we don't want to talk to, have that list too. Don't want to deal with this person. And any new vendors that we need to source for. So like if we wanted to start creating coffee mug bundles, then our goal would be to go find like 3 coffee mug vendors. So, and then I've got Fiverr, BOLO Groups, Bundle Groups, and Trademark Registry. And that's just things that I need to separate out. Probably put YouTube on there too. I've been debating with having somebody go through and do thumbnails for me or video editing. I just canceled my video editing software though yesterday because I wasn't really planning on using it. So going through all of that. And then going through the last year's goals. That will be on my list to do. What were my sales, my growth goals? I moved into the warehouse, kind of a post-mortem. How did that go? Was it good? Was it bad? What could I have learned from that? Got my son in college, and I've been really working on my schedule this last year. So I feel like I've highly improved my schedule, and moving into the warehouse was a big check mark off of my list here. What about you, Tina? What do you want to do next year?
Everything. No, I want well, I still really have to go through all of my goals, but going into next year, I'm really excited about the bundles group, and I'm really loving that side of doing business. I think because it's fresh and new. I've been doing Amazon so long and doing it full time for so long that I feel like a robot. It's like find a cool bundle idea, create bundle listing, ship in bundle. It's just like I feel like I'm a robot with my Amazon business, and it's because it's a well-oiled machine. Even though I'm still always setting new goals for it and improving it, it's still a very robotic task for me. And because I'm a creative, I start getting bored. And so adding new things for me is exciting. So as far as new things I'm wanting to improve on, one is the Etsy side of my business. Um, I started selling just basic things on Etsy, and now we're really getting into creating our own things to sell on Etsy. And I'm finding that fun. So that like ignites a new passion. And having started doing some coaching with clients and getting to talk to people about their businesses has also ignited a passion because it's fun to help somebody else. And then, like I had a customer that I helped yesterday, and then he messages me and he says, "Oh my God, I got a sale in the first hour of you helping me, adjust my listing." And it's like, I enjoy knowing that I help make a difference with someone else. So that's also ignited another passion. And I know you've been enjoying that as well. And, just doing these Facebook groups that we sampled with trying here during Q4 with doing the VA leads and now doing the bundles. To me, it's just added the cherry on the top this year. So I'm really looking forward to nurturing those new things in my business. Um, with my Amazon business, I don't think I don't feel like I have something exciting there for me. I always find finding new products, to add to my account exciting. I mean, that's always exciting. But I feel like I've done all the things there. I don't have a new, nothing really to motivate me there. So getting the outside motivation is exciting in business.
That is that is definitely true. There's always room for improving stuff, and
Mm,
yeah, you got to kind of branch out. I like to kind of cast. I don't want to say cast my net wide, but I like to try different things and then see what goes in. And that goes back to the goals for bundles. I'm going to try. I want to try a couple different types for different seasons and see which ones work the best and refine my skills there, but also
yeah,
seasonal ones, or evergreen ones. I want to
yeah,
try a few there and see, well, which ones work the best and get rid of the ones that don't work very quickly. And also make sure that the cost I'm putting into that is all worth it as well. Um, I've tried some higher end bundles that worked, and I've tried some higher end bundles that don't work. And so, you've got to look at your capital investment. How many are you going to make? When I'm typically doing a bundle, it's like, okay, well, I want to at least try 20 of them. Like, I'm not going to do 2 of them because you can't really get a good gauge on how fast that's going to sell or launch.
hmm,
But, Amazon is always changing too. I think
yeah,
the catalog in Amazon changed, I would say, the most this year than any. It
yeah,
feels like it did.
yeah.
All right. What are you doing today?
Well, my list is too long as always. I the importance is, and I'm surprised because the other day I had zero merchant fulfilled orders. I thought, oh, it's finally, run its course. And now today I think I have only 5 to send out. I mean, so it's really dwindled down to just nothing because let's face it, it's December 23rd. You're not going to get it for Christmas. So I do have a couple of orders to go out today, and I need to run to the bank. I have just a couple errands up the road. I need pet food for my animals, just things of that nature. And then we are on Operation Clean the House. So that started yesterday, and yesterday we did the upstairs. Today we're going to focus on downstairs and laundry, and so that way we can have a nice spotless house going into our holiday. I always love when my house is just really clean and organized. I don't know, just being it, even when my office is like everything is in place and all the bags are where they I I love that feeling. So and I'm moving things, right? Like I like rearranging things. If you rearrange your living room furniture, it can make a space feel new, even with the same old stuff you've always had. I feel like I tend to always do this at the end of the year and the beginning of the year. It's like I want new space. I find it just I don't know, it just makes me feel good.
Refreshes the energy in the
It
room.
does.
Yeah, and that's why we're rearranging the office in the warehouse, because
Mhm.
you can't sit there and rearrange all the time. You've got to kind of think about it and then do it once and not be sitting there rearranging all the
Yeah.
time. So that's time consuming in itself, and we usually have to rearrange and then kind of settle in and see, do we like the way we rearranged it. But yeah, I've got one table that's an oval, and I hate it. I just need to get rid of it. Oval
Yeah.
doesn't work. It's just doesn't. Anyhow, I need squares. I need more squares in my life. Let's see here. I've got 8 orders. My ladies are asking if they can hit the roads. I got to go out and see if we've turned to rain or not here.
Yeah.
Because if it's a sheet of ice, then we're not going in. If it's not a sheet of ice, then we can get into the warehouse today. But it's still going to be cold. I don't know. And then we do a lot of our celebrating on Christmas Eve because it's a Norwegian thing to celebrate on Christmas Eve versus Christmas Day. So we've got a big roast I've got to do. And then there was a fight over rolls. I was going to go pick up rolls at Jimmy Mac's. If anybody's in the area, you know what I'm talking about. Their rolls are so good. But the kids, one wants me to go get rolls, one wants me to make rolls. And I picked up a sourdough starter from somebody in my neighborhood. So I might play with my sourdough this
We're
weekend.
doing an Italian themed Christmas dinner this year. So we're doing like think Olive Garden, like lasagna and soups and breadsticks, and we're going the whole Italian route this year.
No, I'm doing Italian for my mom's dinner.
Well, look, I can eat Italian or Mexican food every day of my life. To my two most favorite foods.
We are going to make fresh breadsticks though, so I'm excited about that. My little nephew, who's 3 years old, is going to come over and help me make breadsticks for everybody. I'll make sure his are like separated, because I have a feeling he's at that age where if it fell on the floor, he'd just keep going with it, So his might be separated, but that's all good. Yeah, it's definitely the time. Sit back, reflect. We talked about a lot of numbers, a lot of reports to pull. You don't make yourself a list of everything you want to look at and what you want to obtain from that. Like, what's your goal by looking at that report? Because Amazon they have 1,000 reports. I mean, you could look at all sorts of things, but what do those numbers mean to you? How are they going to influence you? What will they make you decide to do? Like when I pull my sales report for suppliers, I'm going to, the ones that are not doing so well, I need to put them on my naughty list, and the ones that do really well, put them on my nice list. And then check it twice. All right, I have got to get going, Miss Tina. I hope everybody Merry Christmas, Karen and Heather and amputee adventures. I'm so curious on that. Oh, but Merry Christmas, everybody, and Happy Hanukkah. And are we meeting next week? That's a question we had on the 30th. I can if you can.
I can.
Okay.
Perfect. Depends if anybody wants to.
We will, and then we also have my CPA is coming on the 6th. So we're probably going to do all tax-related questions for the 6th. If you have tax questions, put them in the comments here so that we can ask her on the 6th. We're going to be going through like all the things that you're going to want to have for your taxes and whatnot, and just kind of addressing that. So if you have a very specific CPA question, write it down below. Write it in our online group, write it in a message, get it to us in some way or form so that we can get it to her.
And I was thinking of also interviewing a bookkeeper from out of the country. And if you guys are ever curious about outsourcing a bookkeeper as opposed to having one in the US, and are they reliable? Are they good? Are they more affordable? Is it worth it?
Now we can talk about that next Friday too.
Mm-hmm.
Want to? I don't know. We'll talk later. But enjoy the holidays, everybody.
Wonderful holiday, and thank you for watching. Love you and appreciate you all.